The snow falls gently over Chicago, dusting the windshield of Daniel Harrington's sleek black SUV as he navigates the icy streets. In the backseat, his 6-year-old son Ethan presses his nose against the window, watching the flakes swirl like tiny dancers in the gray morning light. Daniel grips the steering wheel, his jaw tight, his mind racing through the day ahead. A meeting with investors at 9, a conference call at 10, and now this, rushing Ethan to a new preschool because the old one shut down after last night's blizzard. He glances at his phone, propped on the dashboard, buzzing with unread emails. One catches his eye, a reminder about Snowflake Academy, the school he scrambled to enroll Ethan in last week. He squints at the address, then at the street signs, his brow furrowing. "Daddy, are we there yet?" Ethan's small voice cuts through the hum of the heater. His brown eyes, so like his mother's, sparkle with excitement. "Almost, buddy," Daniel replies, forcing a smile. He turns onto a quiet street lined with snow-covered trees, spotting a cheerful sign that reads, Winter Haven Nursery. Close enough, he thinks, too distracted to double-check. He pulls into the lot, tires crunching over fresh powder, and kills the engine. Ethan unbuckles himself, bouncing with energy as Daniel grabs his backpack. They step out into the cold, the wind tugging at Daniel's coat and Ethan's scarf. Ahead, a small brick building glows with warm light, its front yard alive with children laughing and tossing snowballs. A woman stands among them, her chestnut hair peeking from under a knit hat, her laugh ringing out as she helps a toddler stack snow. Daniel freezes, caught off guard by the sight, by her ease, her brightness against the dull winter morning. She turns, noticing them, and walks over with a smile that feels like a thaw in the frost. "Good morning. You must be new here," she says, crouching to Ethan's level. "I'm Anna Ellis. What's your name, sweetheart?" "Ethan Harrington," he chirps, puffing out his chest. "I'm 6 and I like building snow castles." Anna's eyes crinkle with delight. "Well, Ethan, you're in luck. We've got the best snow castle spot right over there." She points to a corner of the yard where tiny houses made of wood sit dusted with snow, like a village from a storybook. Ethan's face lights up and he tugs Daniel's hand. "Can I go play, Daddy, please?" Daniel hesitates, glancing at Anna. "You're not expecting him, are you? I thought this was Snowflake Academy." Anna straightens, her smile faltering just a fraction. "No, this is Winter Haven Nursery, but Ethan's already making himself at home. Maybe that's a sign." Her voice is gentle, teasing, and Daniel feels an odd flutter in his chest, something he hasn't felt since Sarah. "Signs? I don't believe in them," he says, rubbing the back of his neck. "But I'll take any help I can get today. I've got a meeting in 30 minutes and no backup plan." "Then let's make it work," Anna says simply. "He can stay until you're free. We've got plenty of snow to keep him busy." Daniel blinks, surprised by her kindness, her calm in the storm of his morning. "You sure?" "I don't want to impose. It's no trouble," she insists, brushing snow from her sleeve. "Kids have a way of finding where they belong." Ethan tugs harder, practically bouncing. "Please, Daddy, I want to stay with Miss Anna." Okay. Daniel relents, chuckling despite himself. "Go have fun, buddy. I'll be back soon." Ethan races off, diving into the snow with a whoop, and Daniel turns to Anna. "Thanks, really. You're a lifesaver." "Just doing my job," she replies, but her eyes hold his a moment longer, soft and searching. "See you later, Mr. Harrington." "Daniel," he corrects, surprising himself. "Call me Daniel." "Daniel," she repeats, and the sound of his name in her voice lingers like a melody he can't place. He nods, then hurries back to his car, the clock ticking down to his meeting. As he pulls away, he steals a glance in the rearview mirror, watching Anna kneel beside Ethan, her hands shaping snow into a tower. "I don't have time for mistakes," he thinks, his inner voice sharp and familiar. "My life's a blueprint, every line drawn, every corner measured." But her voice, soft like falling snow, made me wonder if I'd been building the wrong things all along. He shakes his head, pushing the thought away, but it clings like frost on glass. 4 years ago, Sarah's car skidded on black ice, leaving him alone with a toddler and a company to run. He'd locked his heart away since then, poured himself into work, into Ethan, building a life that didn't bend or break. Yet here he was, off script, off course, and somehow it didn't feel wrong. He merges onto the highway, the city skyline looming ahead, but his mind drifts back to Winter Haven, to Anna's smile, to Ethan's laughter, to the strange pull he can't name. Maybe it was just a fluke, a glitch in his carefully planned day, or maybe, just maybe, it was something more, something he'd forgotten how to recognize. As the snow thickens, blanketing the road, Daniel grips the wheel tighter. He doesn't know it yet, but this wrong turn is about to rewrite everything he thought he understood about love, about promises, about the pieces of himself he left buried in the cold. The winter sun dips low over Chicago as Daniel Harrington pulls back into the snowy lot of Winter Haven Nursery. His meeting ran late, investors haggling over blueprints until his head throbbed, but now he's here, the chaos of the day fading as he spots Ethan through the frosted fence. His son kneels in the snow, mittens caked with powder, shaping a lopsided castle beside Anna Ellis. She's laughing, her breath puffing in white clouds, her hands steady as she helps Ethan stack another tower. Daniel steps out of the SUV, the cold biting his face, and feels a tug in his chest, something warm and unfamiliar blooming beneath his ribs. "Daddy," Ethan calls, waving a snowy hand. "Look what me and Miss Anna made." Daniel crosses the yard, his polished shoes sinking into the snow, and crouches beside the castle. "That's impressive, buddy. You've got a real architect's touch." "Miss Anna says I'm a snow king." Ethan beams, his cheeks rosy. Anna stands, brushing snow from her coat, her hazel eyes catching the fading light. "He's a natural, patient, creative, just like someone else I know." Her gaze flickers to Daniel, playful yet piercing, and he feels that tug again, sharper this time. "I should have warned you," he says, standing too. He's relentless when he gets an idea. "Thanks for keeping him busy. I owe you." "No debt here," she replies, tucking a strand of hair behind her ear. "He's a joy. You've raised him well." Daniel nods, unsure why her words land so heavily, why they stir a quiet ache he's buried since Sarah. "He's all I've got," he says softly, then clears his throat. "We should get going. Say goodbye, Ethan." "Bye, Miss Anna." Ethan hugs her legs, leaving snow on her jeans, and she ruffles his hair with a tenderness that makes Daniel pause. As they walk to the car, he glances back, catching her silhouette against the glowing school, and wonders why leaving feels harder than it should. 2 days later, fate nudges them again. Daniel sits at Frost and Flame, a cozy cafe near Winter Haven, nursing a black coffee while Ethan doodles on a napkin beside him. The door chimes, and Anna steps in, shaking snow from her scarf. Their eyes meet across the room, surprise softening into recognition. She orders a latte, then hesitates before walking over. "Mind if I join you?" she asks, her voice a gentle question. "Please," Daniel says, gesturing to the empty chair. Ethan looks up, grinning. "Miss Anna, you're here too?" "Looks like it," she chuckles, settling in. "This place makes the best coffee in Chicago, my little escape after a long day." "Same," Daniel admits, sipping his drink. "Though I usually rush through it. Ethan's the only one who slows me down." Anna smiles, watching Ethan scribble. "He's lucky to have you. Not every dad makes time like that." Before Daniel can respond, she reaches for her cup, and it tips, splashing coffee across the table. "Oh no," she gasps, grabbing napkins. As she wipes her hand, her sleeve slips, revealing a faint scar snaking across her wrist, jagged and pale against her skin. Daniel stares, a flicker of something, a memory, teasing the edge of his mind, snow and screams and a girl's voice. But it's gone before he can grasp it. "You okay?" he asks, handing her more napkins. "Yeah, just clumsy," she says quickly, pulling her sleeve down. Her eyes dart away, and he senses a wall sliding into place. Ethan, oblivious, slides his drawing toward her. "Look, Miss Anna, it's our snow castle. That's me and Daddy and you." The sketch shows 3 stick figures, 2 tall, 1 small, standing by a lumpy castle under a swirl of snowflakes. Anna's face softens, her fingers tracing the lines. "This is beautiful, Ethan. You've got us all together." "Like a team," he says proudly, and Daniel laughs, though his throat tightens. "A team, huh?" he echoes, meeting Anna's gaze. "Guess we're stuck with you now." "Guess so," she replies, her smile shy but real. The moment stretches, warm and fragile, until her phone buzzes, breaking the spell. "I should go. Duty calls." She stands, tucking the drawing into her bag. "See you soon, Ethan." "Daniel?" As she leaves, Daniel watches her vanish into the snowy dusk, the drawing lingering in his mind. There's something about her eyes, he thinks. Something I've seen before. It's like a song I forgot the words to, playing softly in the back of my mind. He sips his coffee, cold now, and feels the weight of years he's spent alone, building walls of steel and glass to keep the world out. He doesn't remember her, not yet, but Anna does. Standing outside, snow catching in her hair, she clutches Ethan's drawing, her heart pounding. "He doesn't remember me. I knew he wouldn't," she thinks, her inner voice trembling. But standing here, watching him smile at Ethan, I feel that old promise tugging at my heart. I should walk away, but my feet won't move. 24 years ago, in a small town near Chicago, a 12-year-old Anna pulled a boy from a wrecked sled, her hands bleeding as she dragged him to safety. He'd promised to protect her, his voice shaky but sure, before his family whisked him away forever. She'd carried that promise like a secret, etched in the scar on her wrist, while he'd forgotten her face, her name, everything. Now, fate has brought them back, and Anna wonders if it's a gift or a curse. She glances at the cafe window, where Daniel sits with Ethan, and feels the past whispering through the snow. She could tell him, unravel it all, but what if he only sees her as a ghost, not a woman? What if this fragile spark dies under the weight of yesterday? Daniel, meanwhile, buckles Ethan into the car, his son's chatter filling the silence. "Miss Anna's nice, Daddy. Can we see her again?" "Yeah, buddy," he murmurs, starting the engine. "I think we will." As he drives into the night, the scar flickers in his memory, a puzzle piece he can't place, and he knows deep down, this wrong turn wasn't an accident. It's the beginning of something he's not ready to name. The Chicago winter deepens, blanketing the city in a hush of snow as Daniel Harrington sits at his desk, blueprints spread before him like a map of his life. It's late, the office silent, but his mind hums with restless thoughts. For days, he's dreamt of snow, not the gentle flakes of now, but a blizzard, fierce and wild, with a girl's voice calling his name. He rubs his eyes, the images slipping away, leaving only a nagging ache he can't place. Across town, at Winter Haven Nursery, Anna Ellis locks the front door, her breath fogging in the cold. She's avoided Daniel since the cafe, her heart warring with her head. But fate, it seems, has other plans. The next morning, Daniel pulls into Winter Haven, Ethan bundled in the backseat with a runny nose and a slight fever. "I'm sorry to ask," he tells Anna over the phone as he parks. "The nanny's out and I've got a deadline. Can he stay with you today?" "Of course," she says, her voice steady despite the flutter in her chest. "Bring him in." When they arrive, Ethan's energy is dimmed, his small body curling into Daniel's arms. Anna meets them at the door, her face softening with concern. "Hey, little Snow King," she says, brushing his forehead. "Let's get you cozy." She leads them to a quiet room with a cot, tucking a blanket around Ethan as he drifts to sleep. Daniel watches, his throat tight, struck by how natural she looks, how she fills a space he's kept empty for years. "He'll be fine," Anna assures him, standing close. "Just needs rest. You can go. I'll call if anything changes." "I can't leave him like this," Daniel says, sinking into a chair. "Not today." She nods, understanding more than he knows, and sits nearby, the air between them thick with unspoken things. Hours pass, the snow outside piling high, and they talk, softly at first, about Ethan, about work, about the little pieces of their lives they rarely share. Daniel finds himself laughing, a sound he'd forgotten, and Anna's smile lights something in him he thought was lost. "You're good with him," he says, his voice low. Ethan doesn't warm up to people easily, not since his mom. He pauses, the weight of Sarah's absence settling in. She died 4 years ago, car accident, ice on the road. I've been trying to hold it together ever since. Anna's eyes soften, a flicker of pain crossing her face. "I'm so sorry, Daniel. That's a heavy load to carry alone." "Had to," he shrugs, though his voice cracks. "He's all I've got left of her." She reaches out, her hand brushing his, and the touch sends a jolt through him, warm and electric. "You're not alone now," she whispers, then pulls back, startled by her own words. The moment lingers, fragile and charged, until Ethan stirs, coughing softly. Anna checks his temperature, her movements gentle, and Daniel feels a pang of gratitude, of something deeper he's afraid to name. As night falls, Ethan's fever breaks, and Daniel prepares to leave, but Anna insists on staying. "I'll crash here," she says, "just in case he needs me." They settle Ethan on the cot, and Daniel stretches out on a couch nearby, Anna on a chair with a blanket. The room grows still, the snow outside muffling the world, and in the dark, their breathing sinks, a quiet rhythm neither acknowledges. Daniel drifts off, dreaming again, snow and blood and a girl's hands pulling him free, her voice sharp with fear. "Stay with me, Danny," she cries, and he wakes with a start, heart pounding, Anna's silhouette faint in the dim light. Morning breaks pale and cold, and Ethan bounces up, his energy back. "I feel better, Daddy," he chirps, hugging Anna. She smiles, but her eyes are tired, shadowed. Daniel thanks her, his voice thick with emotion, and as they leave he catches her hand. "You didn't have to stay. Why did you?" "Because I wanted to," she says simply, her gaze locking with his. "For him, for you." The words hang there, heavy and sweet, and Daniel feels them settle into his bones. He drives home, Ethan chattering beside him, but his mind is on Anna, on the dreams, on the scar he can't unsee. There's something about her eyes, something I've seen before, he thinks, his inner voice urgent now. It's like a song I forgot the words to, playing softly in the back of my mind. Back at Winter Haven, Anna sits alone, her hands trembling as she traces the scar on her wrist. She sees it all again, the sled crash 24 years ago, the snow red with her blood as she dragged 12-year-old Daniel Harrington to safety. His promise echoes in her ears. "I'll always protect you, Anna," spoken through chattering teeth before his parents took him away. She'd clung to it, a lifeline through lonely years, while he'd moved on, forgotten her entirely. Now he's here, close enough to touch, and she's torn between telling him and letting him go. "Your daddy's a good man, you know," she'd told Ethan last night, her voice steady despite the ache. "He just forgets things sometimes." She'd watched them sleep, father and son, and felt the past collide with the present, a storm she couldn't outrun. That night Daniel lies awake, the dreams sharper now, fragments knitting together, snow and a girl and a promise he broke. He doesn't know her name, not yet, but he feels her, a ghost in his blood, and it terrifies him. Anna, meanwhile, stares out her window, snow falling like tears, and wonders if love can survive being forgotten. "Why do I feel like I owe you an apology I don't even understand?" Daniel had asked her once, and she'd smiled, hiding the truth. "Because you promised me forever," she thinks now, her inner voice breaking, "and I've been waiting ever since." She closes her eyes, the scar a silent witness, and knows she can't stay silent much longer. The past is waking up, and it's coming for them both. Snow dusts the playground of Winter Haven Nursery, glinting under the pale December sun as parents and children gather for the preschool's Winter Family Day. Daniel Harrington stands near a table of hot cocoa, his breath visible in the crisp air, watching Ethan scamper through the snow with a group of kids. His son's laughter rings out, bright and carefree, but Daniel's mind is elsewhere. tangled in dreams that won't let go. For weeks they've haunted him. Snow and a girl's voice and a promise he can't shake. He scans the crowd, finding Anna Ellis near the snow castle corner, her knit scarf fluttering as she kneels beside Ethan, shaping a tower with him. Daniel walks over, his boots crunching softly, drawn by a pull he can't name. "Need an extra pair of hands?" he asks, crouching beside them. Ethan grins. "Yes, Daddy, you built the big wall, okay?" "On it," Daniel says, packing snow with his gloves. Anna hands him a clump, her fingers brushing his, and the contact sends a jolt through him, sharp and familiar. He glances at her wrist, the sleeve of her coat riding up just enough to reveal that jagged scar again, pale against her skin. His breath catches, the world tilting as a memory slams into him, snow and blood, and a girl's hands dragging him from a wrecked sled. "Stay with me, Danny," she'd begged, her voice raw, and he'd promised, "I'll always protect you," before the pain swallowed him whole. He stares at Anna, the pieces snapping into place, her hazel eyes, the scar, the girl from 24 years ago. "Anna," he whispers, his voice breaking. "It's you." She freezes, snow crumbling in her hands, her face paling as she meets his gaze. Ethan, oblivious, keeps building, but the air between them thickens, charged with a truth too big to hold. "Daniel, she starts, then stops, her eyes glistening. "We need to talk," he says, standing, his heart pounding. "Now." She nods, rising slowly, and they step away from the playground, finding a quiet corner by the fence. The snow falls heavier now, a curtain around them, and Daniel's voice trembles as he speaks. "That scar. I've seen it before. In my dreams. You pulled me out of a sled crash when we were kids, didn't you? Near Chicago, a hill by the old mill. I promised I'd protect you, and then I left. I forgot you." Anna's breath hitches, tears spilling down her cheeks. "You were 12, Daniel. Your family moved away the next week. I didn't expect you to remember, but I couldn't forget." She lifts her sleeve, showing the scar fully, a thin line of history etched into her skin. "I cut my hand on the sled's edge, pulling you free. You were unconscious, bleeding, and I thought I'd lose you. That promise, it was all I had left of you." He steps closer, his eyes searching hers, seeing the girl she was, the woman she is. "Why didn't you tell me? All this time you've been here and I didn't know." "I wanted to," she says, her voice cracking. "Every time I saw you with Ethan, every time you smiled at me, I wanted to say it. But what if you only felt sorry for me? What if you looked at me and saw a debt, not—" She falters, wrapping her arms around herself. "Not someone you could love." Daniel's chest tightens, the weight of her words sinking in. "Anna, I've been dreaming of you for weeks, pieces of you I couldn't place. That day, you saved me. And now, you're saving me again, you and Ethan, pulling me out of a life I didn't even know I was trapped in." He reaches for her hand, his fingers tracing the scar, gentle and reverent. "You were my promise. I forgot you, but my heart never did." She pulls back, shaking her head, tears falling faster. "I didn't want you to remember me out of guilt, Daniel. I wanted you to choose me because you felt it too, not because of some old promise you didn't mean to break." "I do feel it," he says, his voice fierce now, stepping into her space. "I felt it the first day I saw you, before I knew anything about scars or sleds. You think this is guilt? This is me waking up, Anna. I've been asleep since Sarah died, building walls to keep everything out, and you walked right through them. I love you, not because I owe you, but because I can't imagine my life without you." Her breath catches, her eyes wide and vulnerable. "Daniel, I'm scared. I've carried you in my heart for so long, and now you're here saying this. What if it's not real? What if it's just the past tricking us?" "Then let's make it real," he says, cupping her face, his thumbs brushing away her tears. "Not because of what happened then, but because of what's happening now. I choose you, Anna, today, tomorrow, every day after that." She stares at him, the snow swirling around them, and something shifts in her, a wall crumbling. I saved him once, and it cost me everything. My trust, my innocence, she thinks, her inner voice trembling. Now he's here, asking for forgiveness, and all I want is to run into his arms. She takes a shaky breath, her hands finding his, and whispers, "I've been waiting for you to choose me my whole life." He pulls her close, their foreheads touching, the world fading to just them, snow and breath and a love reborn. But doubt lingers in her, a shadow she can't shake. Is this him, or the boy he was? She wonders, her heart aching. Can he love me without the weight of yesterday? Across the yard, Ethan waves, his snow castle towering now, and Daniel smiles, his voice soft. "Come back with me, let's tell him together, not about the past, but about us." Anna hesitates, then nods, her hand tight in his. As they walk toward Ethan, the snow thickens, burying the playground in white, and she feels the past slipping away, replaced by something new, something fragile and fierce. Daniel's confession echoes in her mind. "I've loved you since the snow fell that day, even if I didn't know it." And she wonders if love can rewrite promises, if it can heal what time broke. The truth is out, raw and alive between them, but the question lingers, unspoken. Is this a beginning, or just an echo? As Ethan runs to them, arms wide, Anna knows she's about to find out, and her heart, scarred and brave, beats faster than ever. The snow falls thicker over Chicago, a soft veil cloaking Winter Haven Nursery as the winter family day winds down. Daniel Harrington stands in the playground, his heart still racing from the truth unleashed moments ago. Anna Ellis beside him, her hand trembling in his. Ethan bounds toward them, snow dusting his coat, his grin wide and oblivious to the storm of emotion they've just weathered. "Daddy! Miss Anna!" "Look at my castle," he shouts, pointing to the towering mound he's built. Daniel kneels, pulling Ethan into a hug. "It's perfect, buddy. You're a pro." Anna crouches too, her smile shaky but warm. "You've got magic hands, Ethan. That's the best castle I've ever seen." Ethan beams, then tugs their sleeves. "Can we stay longer, please?" Daniel glances at Anna, a silent question in his eyes, and she nods, her breath catching. "Not today, little Snow King," she says. "But how about tomorrow? We'll build something even bigger." "Promise?" Ethan asks, his brown eyes bright. "Promise," Daniel says, his voice firm, and Anna echoes it softly. "Promise." The word hangs between them, heavy with new meaning, and as the other families drift away, Daniel knows he can't let this moment slip. "Ethan, go grab your mittens from the table," he says. "I need to talk to Miss Anna for a minute." Ethan races off, and Daniel turns to Anna, the snow swirling around them like a cocoon. "I meant what I said," he begins, his voice low and steady. "This isn't about the past anymore. It's about us now, tomorrow. But I need you to believe it too." Anna's eyes glisten, her scarf fluttering in the wind. "I want to, Daniel. I've waited so long to hear you say that, to feel this. But it's hard to trust it's real, not just a shadow of what we were." "Then let me prove it," he says, stepping closer. "Not with words, not with promises. I forgot once, but with this." He reaches into his coat, pulling out a small, delicate ring carved from ice, its edges catching the light. "I made it last night, after the dreams wouldn't stop. It's not forever, it'll melt. But that's the point. I'm choosing you every day, Anna, starting now." She stares at the ring, her breath hitching, and takes it, her fingers brushing his. "You don't owe me anything anymore, Daniel," she says, her voice trembling. "Just love me, really love me." "I do," he replies, his hands framing her face. "I've loved you since the snow fell that day, even if I didn't know it. I love you now for who you are, for what you've given me and Ethan. And I'll keep loving you, scar and all." Tears slip down her cheeks, but she smiles, a real, unguarded smile, and slips the ice ring onto her finger. "I've been waiting for you my whole life," she whispers, and he pulls her into his arms, their lips meeting in a kiss that tastes of snow and salt and second chances. The cold fades, replaced by a warmth that sears through them, and for the first time, Anna feels the past let go, her heart unfurling like a flower in frost. She saved him once with her courage, she thinks, her inner voice soft and sure. Now he's saving us both with his. This isn't about a debt. It's about a future I can't imagine without him. Ethan runs back, mittens dangling, and stops, tilting his head. "Are you hugging Miss Anna, Daddy?" Daniel laughs, pulling back but keeping Anna close. "Yeah, buddy. Miss Anna's going to be around a lot more. How's that sound?" "Really?" Ethan's eyes widen. Then he flings himself at them, wrapping his arms around their legs. "Like a family." "Like a family," Anna says, her voice thick, kneeling to hug him tight. A week passes, the snow piling high, and Daniel doesn't waste time. He organizes a night at Winter Haven, just the three of them. Lanterns glowing in the yard as they build a massive snow castle together. Ethan giggles, piling snow, while Daniel and Anna work side by side, their hands brushing, their laughter mingling. When the castle's done, Daniel lifts Ethan onto his shoulders, and Anna stands back, watching them, her heart full. 1 year later, the snow falls again, softer now, as Daniel and Anna stand in Winter Haven's yard, surrounded by friends and family. She wears a simple white dress. He's in a dark suit, and Ethan, their ring bearer, bounces in a tiny tuxedo. They exchange vows under a canopy of snowflakes, promising not just to protect but to cherish, to choose each other every day. "I forgot you once," Daniel says, his voice breaking as he slides a gold band onto her finger. "I'll never forget you again." "And I'll never stop choosing you," Anna replies, her eyes locked on his, the ice ring long melted but its memory alive in her smile. The crowd cheers, Ethan tossing snow like confetti, and later, at the reception, Daniel unveils a surprise. "Promise Haven," he announces, pointing to blueprints on a table, a community center with a preschool wing, named for the promise they've reclaimed. For Anna, for Ethan, for us. She gasps, tears brimming, and pulls him close. "You didn't have to do this," she whispers. "Yes, I did," he murmurs back. "It's our home, all of ours." Months later, they stand in Promise Haven's finished yard, Ethan racing to a snow-covered slide, as Daniel wraps an arm around Anna. The center buzzes with kids and parents, a testament to their love, their healing. She leans into him, her hand resting on his chest, and feels the scar beneath her sleeve, no longer a wound, but a bridge. "Daddy, Miss Anna, come play," Ethan calls, and they join him, tumbling into the snow, laughter echoing through the winter air. As the sun sets, painting the sky gold and white, Daniel pulls Anna close, his voice a whisper against her ear. "Some promises are forgotten, but the heart always finds its way back." She nods, her eyes on Ethan, on the life they've built, and knows he's right. The snow falls around them, a gentle promise of its own, and in that moment, they are whole, a family forged not just by fate, but by love, brave and unbroken.